other things to talk about on the Night Owls. Let's get into it. Whatever you have to say. Oh, and I think we might do this before we get into Night Owls proper. Shall we do that thing we were talking about now? I think so. Now, as you know, the Night Owls to me is not just... It started out being purely entertainment, to have a laugh and have some fun and do all the rest of it. And over the years, we're very close to having raised £7 million. We've helped all kinds of charities, all kinds of causes. We continue, night after night, to try and do whatever bits of good we can to anybody that demands it. Now, I'm going to tell you a story exactly as it happened. And this is on the advice of the police, I'm telling you this story. Now, last evening, we had a caller ringing from a particular number, asking for wedding dresses. You may well remember the call. Now, this evening, we decided, well, we got tipped off. 2 night owls called us and told us that they'd overheard a woman talking in a cafe about how they were going to rip off the night owls by picking up a wedding dress or wedding dresses and selling it. And they were then going to come back on the program using a variety of names to get other items that they didn't particularly want, but they would sell. They would get them for nothing and they would sell them. Now, you see, we use this program to help people. We don't do it for any reason other than because it's the right thing to do. And because we occasionally get situations where people use us, and I'm sure it happens, I've got no doubt, and I don't think anybody at home should have any doubt, that from time to time people use us for the wrong reasons. But we sort of put up with them uncomfortably, because I would rather one unworthy person get something rather than 9 very worthy people don't, if you understand. So we've spoken to the police about this whole thing. Now, I rang personally the telephone number that called us a few times last evening and decided I was going to have a word and see what it was true and give them a chance to, have their say on it. And got a gentleman who I told about, and he was determined to say that nobody called from his number. Now, we got proof of that because obviously we'd phoned that number and got through, and we've got it on our records that we did. And he was insistent that nobody had, and nobody could have done that because he wasn't in. And then later on, in the background, on the second time we talked to this gentleman, in the background, a fella said, "Oh, we've just spotted there's some wires from being attached to our box outside in the street. Somebody's been fiddling with our phones," which A, is implausible. And B, what's he doing looking outside at his British Telecom box just at the precise moment he's on the phone to me? It sounds tricky, but that's, again, what happened. We've got this on tape, so it's safe for me to tell you. The other thing that happened later on, apparently, he's been in touch with the police himself, actually, before we were, and claiming that I've been making threats against him. Well, we haven't. And secondly, saying that apparently, if he's telling the truth, a member of his family's friend is a large woman who answers the description that I never gave him. Because I said that a woman wanted a wedding dress. I didn't give any size. Just said a woman wanted a wedding dress. So how he knew we were looking for a large woman, I don't know. And he thinks this woman might have copied a key and sneaked into his house when he didn't know because he was away. Well, the bottom line is we've obviously phoned some of the people who offered wedding dresses. One wedding dress is already gone, so I can only hope that that wedding dress will be used for that person's wedding. However, we'll not be doing anything in that area again for this particular group of people. And that's a fact. Only because if they were as shocked and unhappy as I was about this, then they would not have gone about it in the way that they did. So the bottom line is, I talked to them asking for their help, and I got a whole mixture of stuff back. So we've spoken to the police, and the police have basically said that it is part and parcel of what we do. We try and win for everybody. We try and help. We try and be a little bit of a safety net for people that may well not have friends, and we're not going to stop doing that. Not for 1 second, and not for every disappointment. Now, you see, I'm a great believer in you. I'm a great believer in every person that's listening to this. I'm a great believer that you can achieve and do incredible things with your lives. Even from the humblest background, you can achieve, you can do, you can make the best, you can fight, you can strive. We can help each other when we need a bit of help. And for every person that makes me feel sad for them, and I mean sad in the worst sense, because these are not people that are trustworthy, and sadly there are one or two people amongst us who aren't. Every time we come across people like that, we say we can either ignore them like we would ignore a buzzing fly and help the people that really do deserve it. Occasionally we must realize we may well help somebody that doesn't deserve it, and that's the nature of our game. We know about what goes on. 9 times out of 10 when something like this happens, and it doesn't happen that often, surprisingly, happens once, twice a year out of the thousands of occasions that we help. And 9 times out of 10 we get it, because other night owls know, other decent people tell us every time, almost every time. And you see, from something that we tried to achieve, and achieved, we end up out of the blue. Do you remember last evening, Jean won a pair of tickets to see the river dance? Do you remember that? She was thrilled and very happy about it. She came in to pick the tickets up tonight, and she brought in a microphone for the pensioners of North Shields. Oh, I beg your pardon, it was Linda from last night, from Camperdown. Linda came in for the tickets last night, and she brought with her a microphone for those pensioners that Bubbles wants to help in North Shields, and we want to help too. So, out of nothing, because we could provide them, she thought, oh, can I make, if this is any good. And isn't that brilliant? You know, you can't win them all. It's the Night Owls. Alan Robson with you on Metro FM. Can't win them all, but we're going to give it our best shot.